Hello, good morning. I hope you are well today. This is my UK business and coronavirus update, and it is the 12th today, the 12th of May. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are watching on the replay, do give me a hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you are tuning in. And as you hop on live, please do say hello. Makes a big difference to me when you guys say hello. So please do say hello if you're hopping on live. I am just pulling up the chats so that I can make sure that I'm answering any questions that you may have as well as we go along. So thank you for tuning in. Do say hello to me as you join. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Annette Ferguson. I'm CEO of Annette & Co, UK-based accounting firm. I'm a chartered accountant and certified Profit First professional. I help business owners take home more money from their business for them and their families to enjoy. Of course, at the moment, that may be incredibly challenging. And that is why I decided to start this series of daily live streams happening weekdays at 11 a.m. to support you both during this time and of course beyond as well. So thank you so much for tuning in for today's session. Now let's just make sure that I can see all the comments and I have everything feeding in the way I need to. Do say hello if you are joining. Do let me know that you are here. I would love to say hello to you as well. So do that. It would mean a lot to me if you do. So thank you so much for tuning in. So if you know that you already have watched my videos before, you know that you get value from what I share, then please do share this out to your connections, your friends, your fans, all those things, whichever platform you are on, depending on whichever term is used there. Hello, J Awesome 25. Thank you for tuning in. Hello, CJ 55 Cobb. Thank you for tuning in. Good morning, Paul. Thank you for joining me today. Hello, Peter. Thank you for tuning in. I do always appreciate it. So today I'm going to start off by speaking about bounce back loans. We saw that Starling were the latest to be offering bounce back loans from yesterday morning. And in all honesty, they have done incredibly well from everything that I am hearing, much better than many of the traditional banks. We are hearing of people who bank with Starling Bank having their loans in their bank accounts within 3 hours of submitting their application, unlike other banks where we are still seeing massive delays. Even with the bounce back loans, Barclays is coming under criticism again for incredibly long delays in delivering the bounce back loans to their customers. So a real difference here between the fintech business and the traditional banking model, and showing, Starling Bank very much showing up the traditional banks when it comes to being able to turn this around. So that is incredible. We're also hearing that Tide has also applied to offer bounce back loans. So if you are a Tide customer, we are hearing that they are also looking to get into the market as well. Paul is saying that Lloyds were great 24 hours. A number of banks we have been hearing positive things from, but we've been hearing incredibly negative things from Barclays and HSBC in particular about payments of loans. So people are having very different experiences with those. Of course, these bounce back loans, the entire point of them was to get money to businesses quickly. It was promised that 24 to 48 hours after you had applied, you would have the funds in your bank account. As I said, some people are seeing that, some are very far away from seeing that. So that's disappointing for them on that side. These are loans between £2,000 and £50,000 for businesses during this time, loaning up to 25% of the business's turnover. It is a simple application that involves self-certifying. And basically it is a loan where it is 100% guaranteed by the government. You have no fees, repayments or interest due in the first 12 months. Of course, like any loan, it is still on the borrower, on the business to repay that loan as it falls due when the repayments fall due. And it is, in an event of a default, it would be the business that would be first sought after to make the repayments rather than the government. So the bank will go down the traditional route of recovering funds first, and if it cannot do that, that is when it falls back on the government guarantee. So that is, in a nutshell, what the bounce back loan is. I know many businesses now that are using it strategically, which is great in order to, make their business a better business as we come out of this, whatever that definition is for them. There are also many people who are using it as a refinancing type option. So using it to pay down some other lending, another borrowing, and to use it as a lower interest rate, because of course the bounce back loan is 2.5% interest. So some of the cheapest borrowing that we're actually probably going to see, particularly for businesses, it is a very low interest rate there. Now, of course, if you could not afford a loan repayment before this point in time in your business, you have to question whether you will be able to afford it as we come out. And you have to be really aware that it is a loan, it is repayable. And yes, there are no payments for the first 12 months, but after that period of time there are, and you need to have a strategy worked out in order to understand how you will repay that and have your profit plan built out to do that as well. So what else are we hearing? Lovely. Yeah, Paul, I will send you that email across. No problem at all. So we have got, we're hearing that British companies trying to survive could be saddled with as much as 105 billion worth of unsustainable debt. This, of course, follows on from me talking about the bounce back loan, and that you have to understand that it is debt you're taking on. It is a loan, and it's the same with the Sybil's loans as well. They are loans and they are repayable, but we are hearing that city executives are warning this in a letter to the Bank of England. They are saying businesses are faced with falling revenues and additional debt. This will require full-scale recapitalization to alleviate the hit to unemployment and sustain the investment required to get the economy back on its feet. With recapitalization, they're speaking about typically businesses that have investors and that kind of thing, but it's a pretty similar situation for small business as well in terms of reducing revenues and increasing debt. We need to make sure that that debt will be serviceable at some point in time, bearing in mind that as we come out of this crisis, we are going to be in a recession as well, and I will go on to speak about that as well at a later date. I do appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Yahia. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Bradley. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Kesh. Thank you, Chris. We have a lot of people joining us, so I do appreciate you very much tuning in. Thank you for the hearts, the likes, the loves, the thumbs up. Again, whichever platform you are on. Thank you for the followings. For those who do not already follow me, thank you so much for doing so as a result of this broadcast. I do very much appreciate it. And my plan is to give you as much value as I possibly can in all the content that I share. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you are getting value from this broadcast, I would really appreciate if you want to share this out to your fans, your followers, your friends, your likers, your communities, your groups, any place where you think this will be relevant for people and where you think that this will be valuable for people. I massively appreciate you sharing that out as well. Hello, Melvin. Thank you so much for tuning in. What else have we got today? Michael Heseltine is saying that furlough is a form of masked unemployment. These very similar words that I have been saying now for a number of weeks during these sessions, all around people on furlough being a pool of unemployed people at the moment, and it's in many instances, unfortunately, delaying the inevitable for people. Questions have been raised about basically how much we're going to be trying to slow what they're calling the jobs shakeout. So that basically is when we start coming out of furlough, what does that look like? How much are we going to slow unemployment as a result of the measures that get put in place as we come out of furlough? It is predicted that at least 2 million jobless people will come out at the end of this. Many, however, are saying that prediction is on the low side. There are currently 6.3 million employees on furlough. They are saying that we are going to potentially hear this evening from Rishi around what the measures might be for that. and I'm being asked on TikTok, how do we slow down unemployment? Well, one way is that if the recession and the economy pulls up, unemployment will slow down. So there's a question about how to do that and how to balance that with people's safety and people's health. And there is also discussions of the ways that we phase out of furlough. So there is talk about, can we have people who are on furlough part-time and working part-time, and the government pays half of furlough and the business pays the part-time wage? That is what's being discussed. That is going to be very tricky to implement in reality, because how do we know that an employee is not working 60%, but they're only working 40%, for example, and how we actually balance that out and prove that is going to be very tricky, and it's going to open up this system even more so to fraudulent behavior. So it's very, very difficult balancing act for the Treasury, for the Chancellor to work out how we actually do this and we stop mass unemployment happening. In reality, we are going to see an unemployment spike. I think to think anything else would be incredibly naive. We are going to see an unemployment spike. Therefore, we need to be prepared for that, both in our own businesses and as a country. You know, as a community, we are going to see that kind of thing happening. Yeah, we can now use technology more. Absolutely, yeah. So there are other options. I mean, there are options for people to work from home and that kind of stuff, but we are probably still going to see quite a big spike in unemployment nonetheless, unfortunately. There is no commentator that is saying that we are not going to see a big unemployment spike. There is no economist that is saying we're not going to see that either. It does look like it is going to happen, and it may just be a question of when, depending on what these measures look like that Rishi will announce to unwind furlough, to unwrap us from furlough. So time will tell on what those stats are going to be. Good morning, Lisa. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate you joining me. We are seeing that household spending dropped by over 40% in April as well. And the Bank of England are now saying they were too optimistic in their assumptions when they forecast that the crisis would lead to the worst recession in 300 years. That's quite frightening, that the statement that it was going to be the worst recession in 300 years was an optimistic one from the Bank of England. And the Bank of England's view is now that a previous information that they provided was too optimistic on that. So let's not be under any illusions that we are heading into a deep and long recession. We expect the recession will last for at least 3 years. We expect that it will be the worst recession possibly ever, and it's going to be incredibly strongly felt by the vast majority of people. Let's not underestimate what we're going into. And as we're running businesses, we need to be aware of that, and we need to be thinking about our strategy for that. We need to be thinking about our finances and how those are going to work in a recession. And we need to be thinking about things like our pricing, our positioning, all those things we need to be really, really clear on. And whilst I'm speaking about this, I am doing a live at 1:30 p.m. UK today inside the Uncover Wealth community, my private community on Facebook, which you are more than welcome to join. You just need to go to Facebook and search Uncover Wealth Community in the search bar if you are not in there already, and come and join us. I am doing all about managing your business's money during a recession at 1:30 p.m. UK. So please do come into the Uncover Wealth Community. Join a little bit before so we have time to preview to come into the group, and you can watch that live in there. That will be exclusively shown within that group. So I would love anyone who's watching to join me for that as well. Let's have some look at some questions. Many reports are saying the recession will last for a year. By the end of next year, the economy will start recovering. I have seen a couple like that, in all honesty, but the vast majority have us out to 2023. So it's a difficult one to predict, and it depends on the economists that you're looking at and the data that you're looking at. But that is my belief that we will be in this for significantly longer than a year. It's going to be a much deeper recession than what we've had before. And we have to try and pull out of that with consumer confidence at all low, with consumer spending at the lowest it's been on record. And we've got a lot of other things coming together in this as well, which we've never seen before in terms of a recession too. Okay, great. Have we got any more questions coming through? I don't think so. So I'm going to move on to my next point, which is, as a business owner, I really believe that now is the time to lead. Now is the time to, lead your team, lead in anything that you do in your business. And you can do that from two places. I was reading an article today by Kimberly Lewis, and she was saying that you can do that as a saint or as a sinner. And it might be a good idea to be thinking about your environmental, social, and governance issues at this point in time as you rebuild your business, as we come out of the crisis and people are starting to think about how they are going to be operating their business for the long term. She said that companies' actions in a crisis are the epitome of determining what its business purpose is. So that means, how we treat our teams, how we treat our suppliers, all those things are really important in actually laying the foundations of how your business operates, of laying the foundations of the values that your business has, of the messages that you want to give out to everyone around you. And how you're acting during this time can very much do that. So I urge every business leader to be thinking about what that looks like. And even if you are a solopreneur, you are still a business leader. So I urge you to be thinking what that means for you in terms of how you want to be operating your business going forward with these things in mind, with these environmental, social, and governance issues in mind that we have, and what you want to be known for as a result. I also think that over the last few days, with the messages that have come out from the government in particular, particularly from Westminster, this can give us as business owners an interesting lesson in communication and an interesting lesson in mixed messaging or confusing your audience, because there's a lot to be learned here. Many people are confused and many people are unclear. And the answer from the government this morning, I heard on a radio interview, was there was a person saying, we don't really understand what we're expected to do. We don't really understand when we can open our business again. We don't really understand when we can get people back to work. It's not clear what the guidelines and the health and safety and what we need to put into place are. And the responses that they were getting from Matt Hancock were, we've been clear, everyone understands. And they were saying, well, no, we don't understand. And he was saying, well, we've been clear, everyone understands. And this is a really good message in communication, that no matter how clear you think you're being, if your audience is telling you they don't understand it, then you have to believe them. Then it means they don't understand it. And therefore, finding a different way to communicate. And this, doesn't just apply just now to broadcasts by the government. This applies in our business as well, in our verbal communication, in our written communication. If somebody is telling you they don't understand something, it means they don't understand something, and we need to listen and adapt to that. So I think that this, the last 24, 48 hours has been a very interesting lesson if you want to have a look at it on communication and what that means, on changing messaging and bringing people along for the ride or not, and what that means if you put that into a business setting as well. On that, we're also seeing with some incredibly positive news that a quarter of small firms are pivoting or thriving at the moment. So a nice balance of some positive news there. We are hearing that around 21% of small firms have pivoted and around 6% have said they are thriving. So an incredibly positive note on that one, which is good to hear, because of course we are hearing a lot of stress and worry as well. As I said before, I do know also a number of businesses that have applied for bounce back loans, not from a place of pain and struggle and unable to pay their bills, but from a place of actually, we want this cash so we can be stronger when we come out, so we can make plans for strength. So that is an incredibly important thing as well. I am being asked, I'm being asked on TikTok to provide references for everything I am reading. I can absolutely quote my references for you in the future. I don't have them right in front of me because I basically take notes and then put them on a piece of paper. A lot of the stuff I get is from the Financial Times. That is a big place of where I find data. I also look a lot at the news sections of HMRC, of Companies House, all those places as well. So that is where I am getting a lot of that information from. Now let's see if we've got any more questions coming through. Yeah, absolutely. It is a world economy issue and we are all connected. Completely agree. It is absolutely. John, I don't know what those initials stand for. So I'm not sure what why you're mentioning those, but I'm not sure what they stand for. I have my little girl at the window shouting mummy, so I'm just going to wave to her. Hello, sweetheart. Hello. She's been out collecting sticks, it looks like, in the forest for her daily walk. So she's banging at the window to say hello. So any questions, do let me know in the comments and I will answer those. Let's see if we've got any here. I cannot see any more questions coming through. So do let me know. If you are just tuning in, my name is Annette Ferguson. I'm CEO of Annette & Co, UK-based accounting firm. I'm a chartered accountant and certified Profit First professional. These are my daily live streams, weekdays at 11 a.m. where I am covering all things UK business and coronavirus. That includes things like the economy, the banks, the government support, and general business information. I am here, as I say, every weekday at 11 a.m. I'd also love to invite you to my Training Tuesday, which is happening inside the Uncover Wealth community today at 1:30 p.m. UK. I am covering managing your business's money during a recession. So I would love for you to come and join me for that session. You just need to type in Uncover Wealth Community into the search bar in Facebook and you can find us that way. Request to join and we will let you in time for that session. So I would love to have you there where I'll be going through strategy in depth on what to do there as well. Now let's see. Do you suggest this? So you're suggesting that small businesses will thrive now. I'm saying that a survey was done where they were saying that a quarter of small businesses were either pivoting or thriving, 21% were pivoting, and 6% were thriving. I'm not saying that they can't thrive. I am saying all businesses can thrive because some can't even open yet. But there is the potential to be setting up your business now so that you can be in a strong position or a stronger position than you might otherwise be. So that is that's kind of what I'm speaking about. And I'm speaking about that today on my live as well. So I think that is everything that I had to cover today. I think I've addressed all the questions that have come in today as well. I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day. I hope that it's a nice day for you, and I will be back at 11 a.m. wherever you are watching this tomorrow as well. And remember that 1:30 p.m. for Training Tuesday, I will be in the Uncover Wealth community. So do please come and join me there as well. And I will speak to you very, very soon. Take care, everyone.